Hey, CMN Conference. My name is Aaron Burke. I'm the lead pastor of Radiant Church in Tampa, Florida. It's a church my wife and I planted 7 years ago. We just launched our fifth physical location. We also have an online campus. And I am so glad that you're joining in on this. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about spotting leaders. I realize our church can only grow as much as we have finances to handle it and leaders to lead it. So my goal is to always do these two things, to raise money and to raise leaders. So this isn't about raising money, even though I love to talk about that. I really do have a passion for raising up leaders, and I have some incredible leaders, incredible campus pastors that we'll be able to raise up. So I'm going to talk to you what I call how do you spot leaders? How do you spot leaders that'll kind of develop your culture, move the ball forward from you? I wrote it down this way in my notes, that your greatest legacy will not be the ministry you do, but the leaders you raise. Let me say it again. Your greatest legacy will not be the ministry you do, but the leaders you raise. Success is always in your successors. It's not what you do, it's who you raise. It's always in your successors. So our goal is to be what I call gold diggers. Now, everybody knows what a gold digger is. I'm not talking about someone that's trying to find a rich spouse. A gold digger is someone who can dig past all the dirt and spot the gold within them, because no leader is going to come to you looking all perfect with all the skills you need. No. You have to move past all of it and find what's that gold inside of them. What can I see inside of them that nobody else sees? I had one of my young leaders came into my youth ministry. He was messed up. His parents had just got a divorce. His dad was in ministry. He came in and wanted to serve on our worship team. And I saw some gold in him. There was a lot of dirt, but I saw some gold. There was a dirt within comes to his personality and different attitudes that he had, some baggage that he was carrying in. But boy, there was an anointing, there was a gifting inside of him. And I invested in him now for over 10 years. Now he's one of our executive leaders at the church and releasing our first album, overseeing creative all over our campuses. So God has incredible gifts inside of people. Great leaders are able to spot those gifts inside of them. We think of the story of Moses, where he had led the people, and Jethro speaks up and says, listen, you got to get some leaders to help you lead this. You're doing too much. And this is what he said in Exodus 18. He said, find capable men from all the people, men who fear God, trustworthy men who hate dishonest gain. Appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, 50s, and 10s. I love that, because realistically, not everybody can lead thousands. Not everybody can lead hundreds. Some are called to lead 50, and some are called to lead 10. It's your job to be able to decipher what that is in the leader. Then it says it like this: have them serve as judges for the people at all times, and have them bring every difficult case to you. So you're still important, but you're not involved in everything. And it says the simple cases they can decide themselves, and that will make your load lighter, because they will share it with you. When you spot leaders, when you develop these leaders, they help share the load. Now, as a church, when I started the church 7 years ago, I was doing everything. But now that I've been able to develop and spot some leaders, now they share the load. It's not nearly as hard as it was back then. Verse 23, if you do this and God so commands, you will be able to stand the strain, and all these people will go home satisfied. And that's what you want from ministry, don't you? Do you want them to be satisfied with what God is doing in your life? Moses listened to his father-in-law, that's good advice, and did everything he said. He chose capable men from Israel and made them leaders of the people, officials over thousands, hundreds, 50s, and 10s. Verse 26, and they served as judges for the people at all times. The difficult cases they brought to Moses, but the simple ones they decided themselves. So they pushed the decision-making process down, and they were able to do more. Here's what I want you to get. Everyone possesses some level of leadership within them. Some level of leadership. Therefore, we must look at everyone as a potential leader. So what are we spotting? All right, let me give you a few things that I look for in a leader that's going to be raised up at our church, Radiant Church, but what you should be looking for in a leader. Here's the first one: is you're going to look for someone that has influence. That's the first I word. It's influence. By the way, I'm a preacher. All of these are going to have I. So influence. This is a person that influences others. They're able to sway others. They have some kind of leadership ability you can see over them. Who's that person everyone listens to? Who naturally rises to the top? Who carries that influence to where people migrate towards them? They have a party over their house and everybody shows up. I'm looking for that person. They are a gatherer. Some of our greatest leaders are gatherers. They're the ones that can bring people together. So I'm looking for people of influence. There's a lot of people, you're competing with the influences in the church. You're mad because you do an event and you have 10 people show up. They do an event, they had 40 people show up. Don't be angry. Partner with them. Embrace them as a leader. They've got an ability that you need. So you need to own those influencers. Here's the second one, is I look for someone that has initiative. So they're influencers, they have initiative. Initiative is this, is they are self-starters and self-motivators. If you know, if you've listened to my podcast, I have a leadership podcast called Made for More. We release content every single month. You can find it right there on all the podcast platforms. But one of the most popular episodes we've released so far is on taking initiative, the importance of taking initiative. And this is what a great leader does. So I look for people who do things without having to be told or coached. So they're the ones that are already finding ways to get stuff done. So here's the question I kind of ask myself is simply, who seems to stay focused and motivated even during difficult times? So this is someone that's, man, they're aggressive of going, I'm gonna stay focused. I don't need someone to constantly cheer me on. I can do it. What do they have? They have initiative. So I'm looking for what? The influencers. I'm looking for those who will take initiative. Here's the third one, is I'm looking for people who are intuitive. Now this is a leadership ability that I look for in people. Here's what intuitive means. They can identify needs and they have a solution before others are even aware that there is a problem. You know what people like this? You're like this. That's why you're a great leader. You know what there's a problem. You know there's a solution. For some reason, I can walk into a room and I feel like I'm the only person that sees problems. Well, that is because I'm a great leader. So I'm going to look for people that can spot those problems, see those things, and bring solutions. They have the ability to see things before they exist. So here's the question I ask. Who does not seem to be caught off guard frequently? So they're not caught off guard a lot. So you tell them there's an issue, they go, oh, I already know about it. I'm already working on it. What do? They're intuitive. They're aggressive about making things happen. Here's the fourth one. Ready? They are innovative. Innovative. You want a good leader? Find people that are innovative. Here's what innovative is. They create new possibilities even when everybody else has given up hope. Isn't that so good right there? So I want an innovative leader. I don't want the guy that says, how do you do that? Well, you figure it out. That's why you're on this team. So I'm looking for the volunteer who's figuring out solutions. They're finding ways to get stuff done. One of our most recent ones when we started the church was that I wanted to have a cool stage with lights kind of like behind me. And we had one of the lights I bought off of Amazon one day. And so this guy, we put the light on and, it started going during worship and I thought it was all cool. So then the story goes that I started preaching. Well, I didn't know it was voice activated and it starts going boop, 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 boop while I'm preaching. So there was nobody else on our team. So I just walked over. This is the first few weeks of the church and I unplugged the light. It goes, dies down. So anyway, this guy came up to me and he's like, listen, I can figure out a way to make this thing happen. I can research it. I can come up with a policy and a plan. Well, he became a great leader for our church those first few years. What was he? He was innovative. He found ways to make things work even in our situation. I can't stand getting around people that say, I can't. We can't. It's not possible. No, we serve a God that all things are possible. Somebody is getting, the companies that are thriving are companies that solve problems that nobody else can solve. So I'm looking for leaders who learn how to solve problems that nobody else knows how to solve. So you figure it out. I think it's Craig Rochelle says it this way. It's never say that my people don't. Say, I haven't led my people to do this. So people will do what you lead them to do. So what I'm looking for is innovative leaders that'll figure out ways to lead people and get things done. So here's the question, is simply who has the ability to think outside the box and make things happen under adverse situations? This is the world today, right? Our world is constantly with problems. So I'm figuring out who are those people who are innovative, who can think of solutions. All right, here's my number 5. It's a good one. I'm looking for a leader that's inspiring. Inspiring. People get around and they're just life-giving. They have a way of just making people feel great. They have a way of making people feel like the mission is important. They're always explaining the why. They see the why before you even having to tell them the why. They're inspiring leaders. People love inspiring leaders. Look at the story of Moses, where he's constantly saying, listen, we're going to go to a land filled with milk and honey. Filled with milk and honey. I counted in the scriptures 20 different times where Moses said, come to this land filled with milk and honey. What was he doing? He was inspiring the people. He was giving them vision. This is what leaders do. So I'm looking for people who are inspiring, who people go, oh man, have you talked to John? Have you talked to Sarah? When you get around them, you just come alive. That's the kind of leader I'm looking for. They're always positive. They bring strength. They show respect to other people. All right, let me recap and then I'll give you the last one. So what kind of leaders am I looking for? I'm looking for leaders of influence. I'm looking for leaders that take initiative. I'm looking for leaders who are intuitive. They just know what to do before they even need to do it. I'm looking for leaders who are innovative. I'm looking for leaders who are inspiring. And last but not least, and I think this one's probably the most important, I'm looking for leaders that have integrity. Integrity. Integrity is the great qualifier, but it's also the great disqualifier. So when you lack integrity, it doesn't matter how good you are at the rest of them, you can never thrive. You see, it takes a long time to climb the mountain of ministry, but it's very easy to fall all the way back down. Be very careful, listen to me, pastors, about giving away ministry too quick to people who have a lot of character. I mean, a lot of charisma, a lot of ability, but they don't have the integrity and the character to keep them there. Way too often, we give people responsibility and leadership because they have skills, but then they shoot up like a firework. Everybody sees them, and then they end up dwindling out and exploding in front of everybody. Why? Because they did not have character. Let me just say this. This one is the most important. I would rather my best leaders be icebergs. The part of the top that everybody sees, that part is very small compared to the depth that is behind the scenes, the way they treat their spouse, the way they handle their finances. I'm looking for leaders with character. Charisma can take you to the top. It is only your character that will keep you there. Here's a closing thought. Last thing. Okay, so you're looking for those 6 things. Here's my closing thought for you. Ready? Leaders naturally reproduce leaders. Leaders naturally reproduce leaders. Therefore, work on developing your own leadership skills, and you will find that more and better leaders will be drawn to you, thus making it easy for you to spot leaders. Where we're at as a church right now, as we've grown and be able to now start to see some recognition from the campuses we've launched and the lives we've seen change, it's easy to find leaders now. Why? Because we've grown as leaders. As a team, we're always learning, we're always growing. And as we get better, the tide rises, so do all the boats, and we get better leaders in the church. Let it start with you. Hope you learned something. Love to have any questions you have. Make sure you send them to me. If you want to know more about Radiant Church, check out weareradiant.com, or you can check out our podcast, Made for More leadership podcast. You can get more information on aaronburke.com. Love you guys.